to Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
On A View from the Outside this week being the 4th of April 2020, we look at uncertainty, 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 with the view being that as COVID-19 has plunged the world into a state of considerable uncertainty, it is imperative that Vincentians are on guard and demand that the authorities in St Vincent and the Grenadines do what is right for the safety, protection, and guidance of all Vincentians. The Cambridge Dictionary defines uncertainty as the feeling of not being sure what will happen in the future. And the Macmillan Dictionary defines uncertainty as a nervous feeling that you have because you think bad things might happen. Those definitions tell us that uncertainty involves a nervous feeling. Uncertainty involves not being sure. And the definitions tell us that with uncertainty, the nervous feeling of not being sure is about the future. That future need not be far away. That future can be immediate. Bearing those definitions in mind and taking into consideration the fact that the world is locking down around St Vincent and the Grenadines, we on A View from the Outside stand in solidarity with all Vincentians, especially Vincentians at home, and we join the call for the leaders of the country to put measures in place to help lessen the uncertainty which exists. It is time that the leaders in the country, and in particular the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines, observe the adage, no man is an island. St Vincent and the Grenadines, an archipelago of islands, as a nation, does not and cannot exist on its own in the world. It depends on others for aid and grants and other forms of benevolence for its survival. It depends on countries. It depends on organizations. It depends on individuals, and especially those individuals who live in the Vincentian diaspora via their financial and other contributions to their relatives and friends at home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who contribute significantly to the gross domestic product, the GDP of the country. The nation simply cannot and does not exist on its own, especially at a time when advancement in technology has made the world a much smaller place, one where interconnectedness is no longer a marvel. News travel at a pace around the world, and many Vincentians at home keep abreast of what is happening elsewhere. They are aware of the advice from the World Health Organization, the WHO, pertaining to physical or social distancing. They are aware of the WHO's advice on lockdown. They are aware of the lockdown in other countries throughout the Caribbean and around the world. And they are aware that such lockdown is necessary to slow the spread of coronavirus. When they see that there is no such lockdown in St Vincent and the Grenadines, uncertainty creeps in for many. They question why their Prime Minister is not locking down the country like many of his counterparts in the OECS, CARICOM, and around the world had done. They question why, despite what he utters, he appears not to be following the advice of the local and international experts. They wonder, just as the latest editorial of the Searchlight newspaper, when will he pull the lever and shut the borders of the country? With the speed of information, Vincentians are aware that because of the effects of COVID-19, many sporting competitions and cultural events around the world are postponed indefinitely or cancelled. Many of those events are events which Vincentians look forward to. The events include the Tokyo Olympics, which is postponed to the summer of 2021. Wimbledon, the tennis at Wimbledon, has been cancelled for the first time since World War II. The Indian Premier League cricket is uncertain. The English Premier League football is postponed indefinitely. La Liga in Spain is put on hold indefinitely. Anthony Joshua's world title defense against Kubrat Pulev, scheduled for the 20th of June, is postponed. Basketball, baseball in North America are all affected. Test cricket and all other forms of cricket are put on hold, and the West Indies tour of England in the summer is likely to be affected. It is worth noting here that Vinci Mass or Vinci Carnival 2020 is now cancelled. And it is worth noting that that announcement only came yesterday, the 3rd of April 2020. Rather belatedly, many have said. It is clear that the time has come. In fact, many say the time has passed for the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines to step away from his position of bravado. It is time for him to show that he indeed realizes that St Vincent and the Grenadines is not the only country in the world, because he depends on many of those other countries around the world for grants, loans, and for keeping the country's economy going. It is time for him to show, the Prime Minister of St Vincent and the Grenadines, that he understands St Vincent and the Grenadines' dependence on the outside world for its survival. It is time that he stops being uncooperative and that he takes the ultimate measures necessary to protect Vincentians. It is time that he knows, or that he shows he understands the true meaning of better safe than sorry. It is understood that St Vincent and the Grenadines now has 7 cases altogether of people affected by COVID-19. It is also understood that the second case and the subsequent cases are said to be passengers who traveled into the country after the Prime Minister's blatant refusal of calls to shut the borders of the country. Calls which still currently go unheeded. The news from around the world about COVID-19 is depressing. The news is frightening. The news is terrifying. And with that, Vincentians want certainty, not uncertainty. Vincentians want to trust the information that they are given. Vincentians want more, much more than bravado and petty politics. Vincentians want more than the unempathetic and unsympathetic way by which their relatives and friends in the Vincentian diaspora are treated by those in leadership at home in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Vincentians want more than being told to expect Christmas in May on the announcement that the importation of barrels will be reduced then. Such announcement being made seemingly without giving any thought to Vincentians abroad who are expected to send these barrels, who are affected, some suffering, and seeing families and friends being affected by COVID-19. Vincentians want more than someone who offers incentives to travel when everyone near and far were discouraging and preventing travel. Vincentians have seen the numbers that are infected with COVID-19 around the world. They have seen the numbers that are dying also. They have heard the gut-wrenching news of people dying alone. And now that COVID-19 has reached the shores of St Vincent and the Grenadines, with the official announcement that there are 7 confirmed cases in the country, Vincentians want less uncertainty surrounding the COVID-19 virus in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Vincentians want more, much more, than a laissez-faire attitude to tackle the uncertainty that COVID-19 brings. Vincentians want more than being encouraged to go to funerals, especially to funerals of those who are popular in great numbers. In fact, that is something which Vincentians must actively be encouraged not to do. They must be encouraged to practice physical or social distancing. Vincentians want someone at the helm who would lead by example, not someone who ignores the recommended protocols of social and or physical distancing. Vincentians want to know about healthcare and provisions of medication and supplies to hospitals and clinics around the country. Vincentians want what the WHO have been calling for, which is more testing to be carried out to determine the numbers that are affected in the country. Vincentians want test, test, test. Vincentians want to know what to do if they develop symptoms for COVID-19. They want a hotline that works and one which people answer and give advice. Vincentians want more, much more than a brag and boast of the number of years that the Prime Minister has been in politics. Those years are worth nothing if the strongly recommended measures are not taken to protect the people of St Vincent and the Grenadines. Vincentians want a leader to assist them to remain focused and not one who constantly steers them towards the irrelevant to cause them to lose focus. Vincentians want to know that when other countries make financial contributions to St. Vincent and the Grenadines during the COVID-19 crisis, that there is proper accountability for how those monies are spent. Vincentians want clear, focused instructions, not ad hoc, haphazard, piecemeal decision-making that is currently linked to the Prime Minister and his government. Yes, Vincentians want certainty, not uncertainty. Vincentians are hoping for information that will make them less nervous about contracting COVID-19. Information about what will make them less nervous. What would happen if they contract COVID-19? And because of the need to lessen the uncertainty at this difficult time, that we, on a view from the outside, stand in solidarity with all Vincentians, especially Vincentians at home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we make the call for the leaders of the country, especially the Prime Minister, to put measures in place to help Vincentians lessen the uncertainty which abounds in St Vincent and the Grenadines. Shut the borders. Actively encourage social distancing. Live the talk. And as you, all Vincentians, as you make that call, as we all make that call, let us all have the following words of Bobby Costo, an author, in mind. He said, "There is no greater fear than the fear of uncertainty." I'll repeat that. There is no greater fear than the fear of uncertainty. Until next week, Randy and all of the listeners, this is Brereton Horne with A View from the Outside, with a reminder to send your feedback as usual to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. We also invite you to visit and like our Facebook page at A View from the Outside, and also to visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel at JMB Horne. Have a pleasant Saturday all. Have a wonderful Sunday and a productive week ahead where everyone practices social or physical distancing to protect